Okay, for this exercise 9, we have a detailed drawing which is given front, right side, and 2 auxiliary views. And our goal is to create this model. As you notice, we have 2 planes other than our principal planes. So to create those, you learn in SolidWorks how to use reference geometry to be able to add those new planes, which is, again, these are not our normal principal planes. So let's begin SolidWorks and start with a new file, and then start part, and this is an English unit, so make sure that your unit is set to IPS, as you notice here. We will begin this sketch with starting a front plane. Select normal to and begin drawing a circle. And the circle I'm going to create in somewhere aligned with the origin, but not exactly the center to be on the origin. So I'm going to select a point to the left of the origin and draw a circle, and another one to the right of that. Create 2 different circles in 2 different sides of the origin. And these 2 circles are equal. We will dimension one of them, which is 4 inches diameter. And other one, we make it equal by selecting the relation, add relation. The shortcut for add relation would be holding Control and selecting 2 circles. And let me add the dimension first, spacing 2, and then adding the relation. Hold the Control key down. By pressing Escape key, get out of the dimension, hold the Control key down, and then select both circles and add equal relations. Rather than dimensioning twice, this is a better approach always. Now we need to add one more dimension between, select the Smart Dimension, select Origin, and select this circle, center of one of the circle, and make it exactly 1. So this way we have equal relations both. Now it's still this dimension, this sketch is not quite defined, is not fully defined. We need to have another restriction on the y directions. Right now we have defined the x direction, we have defined the sizes, we need to constrain on y direction. To do that, we can select, again, hold the Control key down, and then select the point of the origin and center of the circle and make it horizontal relations. Selecting 2 points and adding the hold the Control key down, select the center and origin, and having the horizontal relations. Repeat this for other circle. Now that should be fully defined. As you notice here, it's fully constrained. Next, finish sketch and extrude under the feature, extrude bus. Rather than going blind direction, we go to the mid plane. This way we have both directions and the origin falls in the middle, and that would help us on future modeling steps. Let's go to have the thickness on this one, which is given on one of these views, should be known as a depth. Here is 2 on the side view. That's the depth dimension. That's the thickness here. we need to have 2 on this distance. And direction, we selected mid-plane and check mark. By selecting all the faces, of course, check mark. At this point, we want to have, there are 2 options for this creating this section. Either use the shell tool, which is a quicker way to do it. Let's do the shell by selecting the shell. And the face is going to be open is this face here. Select the face and add the thickness, which given default of 0.1, we can change to 0.5. In our case, the thickness is 0.5. And check mark. That's the quick way to do it. Another way would be creating the same geometry by using the project geometry and then extrude cut. This is a little bit faster step. So now if you review our planes, let's make this frontal plane which I created visible by right click and say this is visible. And you notice that my plane is exactly in the middle because I used the mid plane. So by selecting this plane, and normal to, and creating a sketch which includes the center lines from the origin to center of the circle, and continuing that to pass this and then add smart dimension. Make sure that this length of this is equal to radius of this arc, which is 2. Remember, diameter was 4 and radius 2, plus 0.5, which extends. The reason I'm doing that to get to this point to our new plane. So the length of this line that I'm drawing is this arc's radius plus 0.5, so which would be 2.5. So type 2.5 for distance. Check mark. Okay. Now another dimension we need to have here is, go back to the front view here. Another dimension we need to have here is this angle dimension. For SolidWorks, if you pick the, under the smart dimension, you pick the 2 lines. Make sure you're not selecting the point, making 2 lines. Smart dimension, picking line 1 and line 2. Automatically switches to the angular dimension, where you would type this angle, which is given 110 degrees. Degrees are built in by default is degree units. You don't have to type anything, just type the number 110. When it's angular dimension, automatically gives you that. And this is fully defined. So we are going to use this line to establish our new plane. So let's exit the sketch. And start creating this plane. To do that, you turn to Feature, select the reference geometry, and select a plane option, reference geometry plane, and select this line that you just drew, and make sure that you pick the points at the end of this line. So line and point. That gives us this plane which is perpendicular to this line, and that is the plane that we need. We established that plane already, and check mark. Now this new plane that we created is plane 1. Right click on it and make it normal to. And now we create a circle on that plane. plane 1. Let me turn this frontal plane off visibility, and now we can see only plane 1. And end of that line should be defined the center point for me. Go to sketch on the plane 1, circle, and perfectly selecting that, and then add in the dimension. Dimension for this one is given 0.75 and is fully constrained as long as you connected the center to end of that line, which happens to be at origin. So this way, now we are going to finish the sketch, and go back to the feature, and then add extrude boss. And right now it's going to wrong direction, as you notice here. We want to go this one to hit this face. Because this is a curved face, it's important that you don't start from this face. That would add an additional problem because it would be a gap there. Because this is a flat face, reaches to the curved face. So we want to make sure that this reverse the direction first. Rather than going all the way through that, you're going to say, go to next, go to up to next. So this way is going to stop right at this face. This is important part. So make sure check mark. So this would not create any gap there. You notice that is the flat face hitting the curved face. And this is the better approach. Now, of course, we will come back and add the hole. That would be, okay, let's add the hole. The hole feature, we are going to select the hole wizard. And we are going to select a threaded hole, which is this one here, tapped hole. And make sure that your ANSI inch selected. If shows anything else, select ANSI inch. And select the size. Scroll down until you find the right size. 5, 16 to 18. 18 threads per inch. And then blind is selected. We have to use the blind. We cannot go all the way through. But how far do you want to go? You can do some calculation here. We know this is 0.5. We want to go past this one. So the thickness of this one was 0.5 as well. So minimum of 1. I will go be safe to go a little bit more, but you don't want to go too far to hit the other faces. So about 1.25. That's something would be good. Right now it shows 0.8. That is not enough. Let's see. So that would be going to blind, but it's more distance. Let's say 1.25. That should be enough to do that. And then we have position. The position of that is going to be here. The 3D sketch says, okay, position on this face, selecting that, and that should be enough to go through and not to hit that plane. As you notice, this is a threaded hole and shows this hidden line outside. So that should be, as you see, the hole went through that face. Okay, so that completes this portion here. We have to repeat the same thing on other side.